and welcome to Overlanders Then and Now. I'm Tom Bingle, along with my dynamic and wonderful travel partner, Jim King. Doc, how you doing today?
I'm feeling dynamic, Binks.
Okay, great, Jimmy.
How are
Great.
you?
Oh, Jimmy, I'm excited. I'm excited to
Right.
interview you about the time between leaving Rick and Cheryl and the kids in London and then coming back, to the United States, but also
Okay.
then, Doc, up until the time that we're going to meet in Cairo, Egypt, of all places, for the second part of our journey.
Right.
And Doc, Doc, reading the blog, thank you again. It was fascinating that you still, Jimmy, you hadn't done enough traveling. It was something in you. Just say a few words about that, Doc. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I knew before I even left the continent or the Isles that I needed to go back. I just knew I kind of I was a little envious, I think, of you. You decided to stay, get a job in Germany, whereas I decided to go back to do some writing. But I knew even, crossing the Atlantic, I was saying to myself, I'm going to go back. I'm going to get enough money, go back, travel longer. And so, yeah, and talking with my family about it, none of them pressured me to get a job or anything, even though I graduated from college 2 years earlier. And, it might be
Right.
time to start a career. But, which reminds me, I may have already said this story about with my brother Bob, I
Yeah.
kept saying to him, I got to get it out of my system. I got to get it out of my system.
Yeah.
We were
Interesting.
driving somewhere and we saw this older guy. I guess he was in his 50s and he had gray hair and he was holding out a hitchhiker sign. And Bob pointed to him and said, "Yeah, he's getting it out of his system." So,
Yeah. Oh, be
the
darned,
bug
Jimmy.
didn't stay with me quite that long, but yeah, I was determined to go back.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, well, Jimmy, it was fascinating because, the goal, going back and the driving force was to write a novel and to achieve that. And I wanted to kind of experience how did it work out, with the writing and everything? Because I know it has been part of your whole career. But Jim, what happened on this novel and that challenge that you faced with that?
Well, I was very lucky in that a professor whom you know from Notre Dame, I took one of her courses. She was really an amazing lady. She
Yes,
was,
yes, yes,
a
yes.
literary agent for many years in New York City, and late in life decided to teach at the college level. And I was lucky enough to take one of her courses, and she was very supportive of my
Mhm.
efforts. And she even offered that when I got back from the first trip over, that if I wanted to find a place in South Bend,
Interesting,
uh,
Doc.
I could meet with her more often, and she would review my work and make suggestions moving forward. And so I got a job at the Boar's Head. Remember that place? And
Yes, Jim. Yes, very much.
I
Yeah.
waited tables, and
Yeah.
at night and during the day, I worked on the novel. And Miss Chrisman,
Great.
Liz, walked me through it, and I completed
Good.
the novel. Yep.
Good. And
Never
Jim,
got published, but
okay.
I got it done.
Jimmy. But I want to say achieving that finishing the novel or whatever, but that must have been a great goal and probably helped you in your career, knowing that you can do it and that you just kept improving, improving. Is that kind of correct with that, Jimmy? I mean, that was a major challenge. That was a major challenge, but
Well, I think that year, after so many false starts and do-overs, I think I learned that writing is a sickness, if you stick with it.
got you, Jim.
So it was a
Okay.
combination of that and
Yeah.
my Irish stubbornness that I not
Uh-huh.
only finished that novel, which didn't get published, but wrote several more that didn't get published. So, but finally it happened, and
Yeah, finally it happened,
you
but
know,
Jim, it did, and you
yeah,
won a major award. That
well,
was wonderful.
right. So,
Outstanding. The
another
Amazon
one
Book of
coming
the
out
Year.
soon.
Yeah,
So, it all works out in the end.
yeah. Now, Jimmy, it's so amazing though. Then you make, the call, okay, I'm gonna head back out. and everything of that nature. And I was just thinking, on that, I love it. Icelandic Air, I don't know if they're still with us or not.
I don't
But
think
Jim,
so.
what were the general impressions that you had, going back to those towns in Europe that, you and I had visited? That must have been an interesting insight in that way, do you know?
It was great. I mean, I wanted to see old places as well as some of the places we didn't get to on the
Yeah.
trip.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I was just excited to be back on the road. Yeah, very excited to get on Icelandic, and then revisit places like Munich and Amsterdam and Paris,
Yeah.
and um, it was great. So I spent quite a bit of
Yeah.
time doing that, a month or so.
Yeah.
But it got a bit lonely after a while.
Okay.
In
Okay.
fact, in San Sebastian, Spain, I had intended to spend more time in Spain.
Yeah, because I remember
Uh,
Spain was a big part that where you wanted to go back. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But I got there and yeah, it was just so incredibly lonely that time was kind of dragging a bit. So I
Uh-huh.
decided to go
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to warmer
Yeah.
climes. San Sebastian is in
Yeah.
the northern part of Spain. Uh,
Yeah.
and it worked out great because
Hey, yeah, Jim, I mean, the story where you met then some great people that, where you became, it was fascinating because when I read it, you became part of each other's lives, with
are you
Anne and
talking?
Dawn, do you
Oh,
know?
Anne and Dawn. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I met them. And I met other people along the way. So it was,
Yes.
I kind of had to force myself because I'm not an extrovert like some people that might be on this video as well. Um, but I met
Hmm.
Anne and Dawn. I was sitting in a cochette in Italy on the way down to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Brindisi
silly.
to
Yeah,
go over to Corfu. And these two come barging in, you know, and kind of
yeah.
took over. And
Yes,
they
yes.
were funny.
Yeah.
And they invited
Great.
me to travel with them because they were
Wonderful.
also headed to Corfu. So we took the
Yeah.
ferry over together. We stayed in the same room in a hostel,
Yeah.
very
Hmm.
platonic friends. I want to make
Yes,
that
very
clear.
much.
And
Great, Jim.
it was great. They were a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
fun and it just reminded me that, when you travel alone, you kind of have to force yourself to,
Yeah, yeah, Jimmy.
when
Yeah.
you and I were traveling together, I kind
Yeah.
of leaned on you because you're such an extrovert. I could almost just sit back and
Uh,
wait to meet new people because you would always initiate it, whereas I
well,
kind of
that's
step back. So one
well.
thing about traveling alone, I think, is that it really does force you to push your
Yeah, yeah,
comfort zone a little
yeah.
bit
Good point.
and
Yeah,
and
good point, Doc.
and meet
Yeah,
people. And boy, I'm glad for that.
yeah, yeah. Good point. And Doc, what amazed me in reading, oh my God, you went to Israel.
Right,
Jimmy, not only did you go to Israel, which was kind of off, that's off the map a little bit, even though it's not too far away, but it just seems so far. But Doc, not only did you, go to you hitchhike for
right.
one whole month, going all throughout the whole area, Jimmy. That was a real accomplishment, I would say, personal
Yeah.
accomplishment. But and thoughts about that, Jim, thoughts about Israel and that travel.
Well, I fell in love with it. It was just it's
Yeah.
such a
Hmm.
compact country.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
And,
Yeah.
you could be up north at the Sea of Galilee or, down in the Sinai Peninsula. Israel still
Yeah. Very
controlled
much.
that back in 1979. And it was such a young country. It was only, when we were there, it
Yeah.
was only like 30, 31 years old,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right, Doc.
48 to
Yeah.
78, 79.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there was a certain energy in
Yeah.
Israel
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
I really liked. And of course, seeing the Holy Lands and
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a
It was something.
land
Yeah.
of contrast. It was beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And yeah, Jimmy, yeah. And then Doc, okay, so you had that, but then it comes to that, whatever, maybe the final chapter of part one is that we meet up in Cairo.
Right.
And Doc, I remember I had written, okay, Jimmy, this is the flight that I'm planning to be on, whatever, 2 months from now or 3 months from now,
Yeah, we were
and it
still in the
arrives in
States,
Cairo.
right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Jimmy, I just couldn't, I don't know, what do you want to call it? It was just amazing. Kind of, I'll never forget walking through that and thinking, oh, am I going to see Jim? Geez, we haven't been in touch. I don't know if it, but then Doc, I hear the voice. Binks. as I come off the plane, and thank God, Jimmy. But that was an interesting time. That whole Cairo, introduction, so to speak, or getting to Cairo, Doc, on that.
Yeah, I think, well, I know my kids are amazed that we,
Oh yeah, yeah,
met up in Cairo.
sure. Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
amazing.
we didn't have cell phones. They're like, how did you do this? And
Yeah.
we just kind of looked at the calendar, looked at where you wanted to go, where I wanted to go, decided on a date, and hoped for the best. I mean, I had no idea as to whether or not you'd actually be there.
Yes.
Something could
Right.
have happened
Yes.
to
Yeah.
you in Africa,
Yeah.
or you might have
Yeah.
uncharacteristically forgotten, or whatever. But yeah, it was a great relief to see that orange backpack above the crowd.
Yeah.
I knew it was you, and yeah, we got right back into it. It was like
Yeah.
old times, and
Yeah.
didn't take long before we were getting on each other's nerves. But it was great to reunite.
Yeah, it was, Jim. It was. So Doc, unbelievable, kind of all that, and what do you walk away from? Let's say that, quote unquote, the second time around, what would be some reflections? I mean, that was a very interesting one when you're on your own. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's a, you do have to be a little more assertive in that sense. But was there in any other kind of interesting reflections on, okay, and Jim, put it this way, did the road still hit the mark for you? Did the road, the travel and the exploration and everything, did it still nab you, Jimmy? Did it still
Yeah.
say,
Of
yes, this was
course.
worth it?
Yeah, sure. Oh, no question about it. I think, looking back on it now, what would be some lessons learned? I guess you got to push yourself,
Yeah. Hmm.
into
Hmm.
what may be uncomfortable situations, and just keep to the plan. Not that we had plans set in
Yeah.
stone, but at least we had milestones. We knew we would, meet in Cairo on such and
Yeah.
such a
Yep.
date, and sometimes
Yeah.
travel can be exhilarating, and sometimes it can be a drag. Time can
Yeah.
crawl by, especially if you're by yourself.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and so, but I think I learned a little bit about how to be by myself and not get stressed out about it,
Yeah.
or,
Interesting.
not let the feelings of loneliness stymie.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
You got to force yourself to get out and
Yep.
see things and meet people. And I think I'm still an introvert, and but I did learn some lessons from you and the people that I met along the way of how to go about, not as well as you, but how to go about
Well, rubbish, Jimmy.
reaching out to
Rubbish.
other
Rubbish, Jim.
reaching out
Rubbish.
to other people. It's really
Yeah.
important. So I think I guess that's what I would carry away
Yeah.
is
Neat.
push the envelope.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. That's an excellent summation, and you went through it, kind of, especially on this second time. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Doing everything, so much that you did by yourself and everything. So really outstanding, Doc. Congratulations on doing that. That's wonderful. And so we meet up in Cairo, and Jimmy,
Yeah.
I want to say that how would you call it? Geez, Doc, here we are in Cairo, and a lot of energy. It's going to be, the next chapter will be so exciting as we talk about our travels, in the Nile. But Jim, what I wanted to say, you might have heard me or maybe not, but I did yell out, yes, Jimmy, the boys are back.
Boy.
We're ready to take on the next part of our wonderful overland journey,
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Well, I don't
So it's
remember
just,
exactly what your words were, but I think I recall some people looking over kind of like, who are those two knuckleheads?
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, great, Jim. Wonderful. This was just a fabulous, and I give you a lot of credit for coming back. Do you know what I mean, Jimmy? And then, but not only coming back, but you really pushed it. You pushed the limits, going all the way down to
Well,
Israel and all
traveling
those different places.
throughout Africa is pretty
Well, it was
amazing in itself
exciting. It
too.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, Doc, okay. So everybody listening now, our next program will be about the ancient world of Egypt, and can't wait to present that. And then, then Jimmy, it'll be great, Jimmy, because then you and I are trying to decide, okay, exactly what the next step is after that. And that's a lesson in itself. All
Oh,
right, Doc.
okay.
Okay. So without further ado, Jimmy, I'm going to close this chapter by both of us saying,
Salam.
Salam alaikum.
Okay, I
All
got the
right.
first one.
All right. Great, Doc.